Running full system diagnostics.
What's good, everybody? All right, folks. It's been a good while, so let's get it. For those too lazy to read, I got you covered with this week's TWAB and a few weeks back. I'm mainly doing this to get back into my rhythm with making these videos, but I also want to cover some things for those who just haven't been keeping up. This video will be timestamps for those who want to jump ahead and hear about specific topics, so make sure you look down below in the description for that. So first up, Bungie starts off by reminding us of the destruction that is about to happen to Titan, Mars, Mercury, and Io, which all ties into the new exotic quest that dropped on Tuesday for the new exotic sidearm Traveler's Chosen. If you need a guide for that, you can click the suggestion link at the top of the video. And while you're at that, if you wouldn't mind clicking that subscribe button and liking the video, that would be appreciated. Anyway, if you haven't already, go do the quest because there's loot that is linked to some triumphs, and I know people are trying to get it done, so you might want to go check that out. This week was also the birthday of Destiny as a whole. It's been 6 years, and it was celebrated by selling a poster on the Bungie store, and they also have that same image up on the website that you can download as a wallpaper for your computer. Next, they touched on getting ready for the future and the mention of the Stasis deep dives. I'm going to go over these articles for a bit, and it's going to be a decent chunk of this video. So if you haven't heard anything about it or seen anything about it, now is the time to tune in. Remember, I'm going to have all this timestamp, so you can go check out each individual one and look for that in the description below. As we all should know by now, all three classes are getting an additional subclass this November with the release of Beyond Light that is known as Stasis, a new element subclass of Destiny. So let's get to the breakdown. First up, we got Warlocks with their new Stasis subclass known as Shadebinder. They have a melee that is called a Numbral Blast that is a quick burst and instantly freezes enemy. Their super, Winter's Wrath, summons a staff and fires projectiles that instantly freeze opponents. Then they raise the staff and cause a shockwave that detonates, destroying all nearby frozen enemies. Titans are second with their new Stasis subclass called Behemoth. They can use a powerful melee to lunge forward, pushing enemies back and slowing anything nearby. The super, Glacial Quake, allows the Titans to form a icy gauntlet and then slam the ground, sending shockwaves that freeze enemies, allowing you to destroy them any way you see fit. Literally become a bowling ball at this point. The versatility here is crazy. You can cancel slides into jumps and slams, which is absolutely ridiculous. Hunters are saved for last and introduced with a subclass called Revenant. They are given a melee which is called Withering Blade, where they throw shurikens, I don't know how to say that really, that ricochet off of surfaces and enemies. Why am I getting a feeling of a Titan's shield from this? The slow freezes and damages enemies. It takes two to freeze an enemy. They also slow and damage enemies. It takes 2 to freeze an enemy. The super is called Silence and Squall, which is the name of the 2 blades that it summons. The first blade detonates on impact, and then the second blade attaches and then detonates, causing a stasis storm that tracks enemies, slowing and damaging any it makes contact with. Alongside the 3 new subclasses, everyone gets a new set of grenades. Those being Glacial Grenade, Cold Snap, and Dustfield Grenade, each with a unique ability. First, we have the Glacial Grenade that instantly bursts from the ground and traps enemies inside crystals, and also has an AoE when trapped enemies are destroyed. The Cold Snap grenades send a wave along the ground and freezes enemies up to 3 times, and it goes between 3 enemies, so traveling along each enemy separately. Finally, the Dust Grenade, which sucks in enemies and slows them and then freezes them. Alongside all of this, they introduce new items that will help customize subclasses called Aspects and Fragments. Aspects and Fragments augment your abilities even further with passive abilities and perks. And that's it. If you want to read up more on these, you can go at your leisure to the Bungie's website and check out each deep dive article. Moving on, Bungie reminds us of things that Luke Smith touched on a couple weeks ago during the TWAB, referring to the remarks about changing the philosophy of how they do rewards and various activities. The first taste we get is about new armor. The addition of new armor sets for the core playlist and something that involves new geometry with the armor, whatever that means. They say that the geometry stuff involves shaders and decals, which has me curious because they don't sound like anything related to ornaments. All of this is pending until the next expansion. The new sets will come out each year. The armor can be earned all the usual methods, of course, with weekly challenges, getting an update to help with acquisition of better rolls. Hopefully this isn't a bust, honestly. I like to have a real reason to pursue armor other than stat rules and mods that only last for a limited amount of time. This is something we just have to wait and see. Pursuit weapons, aka Pinnacles, aka insert the meme here for the new overpowered weapon, probably. The idea is the same with a bit of a twist. Banshee will have a focused quest that you will have the choice of choosing which activity to complete it in, and will be locked into that activity to earn progress. I like the way this sounds, but I want to know more about the length of these quests and what they're looking like. Because with the biggest issue I had with these quests from before was how crazy long it was to get each individual pinnacle. So the twist is once you finish the main quest, you can get a second quest from Savala, Shax, or Drifter, and it will let you get an ornament for each activity that they watch over. The first weapon will be a sniper that looks similar to the Beloved. Now, moving over to activities and the changes being made to the core playlist, mostly just some consolidation and removal of some game modes in order to keep the screen clean. For Crucible, feature modes will be Control, Elimination, Rumble, Survival, with both Survival and Survival Freelance being available. Weekly rotators will be Clash, Mayhem, and Showdown. Private matches will still be available. And then there's Iron Banner, which comes around during its time in the season, like always. But there's also going to be something new called Iron Banner Freelance, similar to Survival Freelance. During the weekends, like usual, trials will be up. And they've also made a note to say that adept weapons are coming back in season 12, in a season 12 sandbox preview this October, sandbox preview this October, which I'm happy about. I've constantly said that trials needs to have something rewarding for PvP players, maybe also something that might draw in heavy PvE folks, and this might just be it. The Vanguard playlist, now only having 2 options, Strikes and Nightfall or Deals, are all that's left. Both still keeping the weekly loot, but also getting adept weapons as well. But they say nothing about that they say nothing hitting on that until season 13. Finally, Gambit is getting the adjustments they've talked about for so long, combining both modes into one. They're keeping one round format for Gambit Prime, rebalance the moat phase, and sped up the primeval fight. With the Gambit Prime armor no longer giving benefits, bosses and enemies have been tuned down so the pacing and killing enemies feels more enjoyable, so they say. They reduced the moat drain and removed the Taken captains from the blocker lineup, replacing them with phalanxes. They've also changed up the time between invasions during moat phases from 10 seconds to 20 seconds. And now during the boss phase, they removed the time Slayer buffs and instead increase the boss's health, but allow the envoys to respawn so you can get an extra 40% buff when killing them. Meaning you need to keep killing envoys in order to get a buff to stack. Potentially. Also, the invasion during the boss phase has been adjusted. I want to know the exact numbers for this. I'm in the middle ground for these changes. Gambit is a mode that I've never had any real issue with outside of when there was AFKing going on. After that, I was cool with it. Hopefully this makes it better for players who found that it was torture. Up next, they give us a reminder about triumphs going away like they always do, or like they have been doing in the last couple of TWABs. If you haven't read, they've been constantly reminding you about all the things that's going away, like catalysts and seals. So if you haven't, read that, and I'll try to update you just a little bit on what's going on. They are getting rid of again seals, catalysts, and quest lines that are a part of the planets and things that are going away when Beyond Light comes to. If you haven't already, I suggest you get started on that if you have those things lined up. But Bungie is pointing out that there are some third-party websites to help you get yourself in order with that, and they list them on the screen here, so you guys can go check those out yourself. Just Google them up, and they'll pop right up. And that's it. They wrap it up with the usual bug report, new things, and patches, or what they've patched so far. And oh yeah, if you haven't noticed, they do speak on about the third-party apps and the optimization that they've done in the recent weeks. So you should definitely check that out. If you're not already using Destiny Item Manager or Ishtar Commander or the Destiny Companion app, I don't know what's wrong with you. You should definitely get on that. They help you organize yourself a little bit better and keep you from having to go back and forth to the tower all the time for little things like getting a new weapon. So go check that out. Also keep you from going into your postmaster all the goddamn time. All right. So that's it. A lot to process in this video. It's filled with a lot of info. And again, it's going to be timestamped for you. It was timestamped for you, so I hope you can go back in and use all that stuff if you want to. Appreciate y'all watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.